to Minds on a Mission, the podcast where we explore the journeys that challenge us, change us, and chart the course for our best selves. I'm your host, Samantha Bailey, an entrepreneur and content creator. And if you are interested in checking out the Minds on a Mission podcast, we are available on pretty much every streaming platform. And today's lovely guest is the awesome, beautiful PJ. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Hello.
Guys, I've mentioned this. Actually, I wanted to make a comment. Oh, first off, it looks like we have.
Oh no, that was me.
Okay. It was you. I thought someone commented it was you telling me what day of the week it is. I was like, wait a minute, did we already get a comment? Okay. I was gonna say I mentioned little short side rant. There was a few times on here I had mentioned I was like, I need sound effects because I like at the beginning I would think it's like so cool to be there. I do it myself. I want to let you know I had somewhere I've seen it in here. I like, even though I'm young, technology confuses me. So one day we will actually have sound effects properly set up. Anyway, sorry for the side tangent. How are you today, love?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. It's been a long day, long week, long day.
It's Friday though. It's Friday, so
end
of the long week.
That is very true. So my favorite thing to start us off is if for anyone who may not know you, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. My name is PJ. Nope, that's my professional name. It's PJ. I almost slipped up my own name. I am a podcast host, a life coach. I am a summit creator, content creator. I wear many hats. I am my podcast is Insights of a Survivor on Powered Voices. My brain is mushed today too. I'm sorry. It's not just you, Miss Samantha. Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors Network on YouTube. I just started the network recently, but I've been doing my podcast almost a year, Insights of a Survivor, where I help with anyone who's gone through a lot of trauma in their life. I give a safe space for them to share their stories, resources for anyone who needs it. So because as myself, I am a survivor as well. So I want to be there for those who were in a place that I was at one point in my life where I didn't know where to turn. I didn't have any resources. So I want to be for someone what I didn't have when I needed it. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. I also have a quick question before we unpack that. Do you care if I at all drink my drink during this episode?
Not at all.
Okay. I normally don't, but then I think about like other podcasts I've watched. They edit it so they cut out when they take drinks. But because when I do it live, I'm like, I never know if people would be okay with that. But I'm like, girl, I'm tired. I need my Red Bull.
Take your Red Bull. You've been working since 12 hours. You've been on your feet. You've earned your drink. Take your Red Bull.
I appreciate that. So, I'm kind of like person that is interested in I would say like the psychology of things, kind of leading where people are. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you could kind of give us a little bit of insights, and obviously you can share whatever you feel comfortable with. You don't have to share anything that you don't want to, but give us a little bit of what it looked like as for your childhood, like where you came from, kind of,
my childhood was very traumatic. Growing up, there was a lot of abuse, unspoken abuse. It was generational trauma. So my mom was abused. They kind of hid from me who my dad was for years. So it was just a lot of confusion, a lot of low self-esteem because of the way I was conceived. I was made fun of a lot. I was singled out a lot. So my mental health was very, very, it wasn't strong. I could say that I was always sad. I always tried to be loved. I always wanted to be happy. I was a people pleaser. I suffered from imposter syndrome because I didn't want anyone to think that I thought I was better than anyone else. But at the same time, I wanted to be seen. I always felt like I was silenced. And it was just really, really hard in the beginning. And then after my father passed away, it got worse. So it went into full-on depression, anxiety. It was because my mom was an alcoholic and she was physically abusive to me. So because of that, it was a lot of anxiety. I'm going to school, getting straight A's, playing all these instruments and doing the best that I can, hoping that I would not get into trouble. And here I am still getting into trouble. So it's like, so I had a lot of anxiety growing up. No lie. It was really, really difficult to go through some of the things that I had to go through, and being lied to about who my father was for the first 9 years of my life because of the fact that my father was my mom's abuser, and I was created out of that. Even though he was a preacher of the church, and we grew up with him. So again, that's confusion in itself. I'm like, okay, this nice guy is a really mean person because he was doing bad things to young girls when he wasn't supposed to. So very confused, very lost. Struggled a lot with identity. Who am I? Because again, I didn't even know who my father was. I thought someone else was my father, my adopted father. I thought he was my father for the first 9 years of my life. So a lot of confusion, but that's kind of normal in that type of environment.
Right. I mean, honestly, that's a lot just right there
Yes.
to go through. I feel like I have some things I would say I have in common. But obviously I would say in different circumstances. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, I knew who my dad was, but my dad wasn't really around. My parents got divorced when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, for the longest time, like up until, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, I didn't really have any memories of him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really, and when not too long after my parents got divorced, my dad got with someone else, and he's been with her for a long time, my stepmom, and they have 3 kids, and it kind of felt like to me it was like, oh, you got your new family, and
Yeah.
I'm just in the background, and I feel like with that it's definitely caused like a lot of resentment. And it's one of those things where I think I've worked through so much stuff in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked
Mm-hmm.
so much, but for some reason that is one of the things that I still am like, don't ever know if I'll actually have a real relationship with my dad.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
like I lived with my mom for most of my life, and then I
Mm-hmm.
spent about like 5 years with my dad, from 13 to 18,
Mm-hmm.
because at that time, I, me, my mom, my brother, we were homeless, and I had spent about 5 years of going through being homeless. And although
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, wanted to stay with my mom, I spent my whole life with my mom. She's my
Of
rock.
course. Yes.
It was a thing of like, you know, kind of survival, like safety over, like
Yeah.
which one do I choose? So I
I
ended up
get it.
ultimately choosing, okay, here, although I don't feel loved, I don't feel the compassion that I get with my mom. I have a
Mm-hmm.
roof over my head. I know that I'm going to be fed,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't have resentment towards my mom for any of that. She was a single mom with 2 kids,
Yes. Yes.
working
Did
three
the best
jobs.
you could.
That's,
Yeah.
like I don't see it that way. Me and my brother are very different. He sees it completely opposite. But he's also older. I'm the younger. I feel like when you're younger, like you're pay attention to your older siblings. You're like, okay, I don't want to act like that. I am gonna do better than that. So
Right.
that's definitely where I kind of feel like really it's like, although like I said, like I obviously like acknowledge that I'm lucky to have both parents, but
Right.
also acknowledging that I can still be upset about the fact that I don't have a good relationship with my father.
Yes.
I don't know if I ever will.
Yes.
That's kind of
And
where
that's for those of your feelings. Excuse me.
oh, I didn't hear what you said. I said that's kind of where I've come to.
Oh yeah, no, and I was saying those are your feelings, the process, and however you process them is yours. You have that right to feel that way because a lot of times when children are, I hate to use the word collateral damage. I'm trying to find a better word, but it's basically like that is the case. Kids are
Mhm.
collateral damage based off of what's going on with the parents, and the parents don't understand how much that impacts the children's lives because of their decisions. Your father thought he was doing whatever was best for him, but he didn't stop to think about how it was affecting you.
Right.
Well, she has her mom, she's fine. Whatever excuses that they can come up with to
Mhm.
justify the behaviors that they take, it just as long as they're, and then when he took you in, okay, well, I'm making up for not having her with me because I have her in my home now. So, we had, as parents, I can speak as a parent, I didn't make the best decisions. Would I have ever abandoned my children? Never. Not
Right.
even. They're here in Costa Rica with me now. And I told you my daughter's 24 and that's my youngest child. So I will never leave my children, but some people are different. Parenting is, there's no book. I wish there was. I really wish there was.
Yeah, for me, it's like ultimately also it's like the 5 years I was there, it was like physically we were together, but still never got that support that I was looking for, which is like kind of felt like a detachment where I have one half, I have the security of having a home and having food, but then the emotional support that I need is 3,000 miles away from me, all the way in California.
Right.
And my mom's working all the time, and she's also an entrepreneur, so she's doing her own stuff. She has a radio show, and so
nice.
it kind of felt like I had two halves, and it was like having to choose was hard. And I also like wanted to the fact that I was bringing up the how I acknowledge these things was mainly because I feel like I'm a type of person where it's like we all have our own experiences. I don't like to compare my experience to someone else's experience.
Right.
I definitely like to relate because it's nice to know that, a lot of times we think like, oh, we're so alone, but there's a lot of us that have a lot of common.
Exactly.
Or even if it's a little thing, it's like, it's comforting to know even just one thing that you're like, oh, I wish, I could have support in this. There are people out there that have things in common.
Yes.
But like, that's why I mentioned my brother. He's different. And we actually have the same mom, but different dads. He had a different dad. And so we're technically half siblings. And unfortunately, his dad passed when he was young. And that was one of those things where I tried to have the conversation. And my brother's very much someone who's like not mature at all, still has a lot to grow, and was like, I remember having a conversation. He's like, well, at least you have a dad. And I'm like, yes, but also we don't have a relationship, and it sucks because he's still here and we have the opportunity to, but the thing is, like, I'm not going to always be the person to be the one to want to fix things. And that's what it's been. I've just kind of given up on that because it's like, I'm not going to continue to reach out and overexert energy towards people who don't give it back to me.
No, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. You deserve to be loved because that person wants to love you. Not to say that he doesn't love you, but the way you need to be loved from him, he should give it to you because that's something he wants to do. You should never have to beg or fight or plead for it. It should come naturally. And if it doesn't, then do what you've been doing, and I feel like you're handling it in a very mature way. So
thank you. Yeah, that's why, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't really want to talk about this because sometimes I feel like I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like, I don't know what the way to describe it, but I like to share things at certain times, things like that, because there's always a point to it. Like, for me, I want people to know that, like, you don't have to be like, oh, well, like, say you really want to have a relationship with someone, you love and care about them so much. Like, for me, my dad, and then also my brother. Me and my brother have not had a good relationship. A lot of things he's done. But it took me a long time to realize, like, I can love them at a distance and not put myself and my peace at a jeopardy. And that's a lot to, get to that point where you can be like, okay, I acknowledge these things, but I'm not going to continue to exert that energy into people that aren't putting it back. Right. And I've cut a lot of people because of that. A lot of friends, everything. Because
So have I. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. Sometimes that is what's best for you in the first place, because it can be mentally exhausting for you to constantly try to put all these efforts into someone who's not putting that effort back into you. So it's like, I'm not going to kill myself because you only want to give this much. I'll give you what you give me. and we could be equal. If you want to say hi once a month, then I'll say hi back. If you want to contact me on a regular basis, then I will contact you on a regular basis. If you want to bring negativity into my life, then you can take that over there. So you have to do what's best for you, and you have to do it unapologetically. So, and it sounds like you're on the right track for that. I have a sister too, and she's my half sibling. We have different fathers, and it's the same. I haven't spoken to her in 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. And I love my sister. Don't think I don't, it's just sometimes people are meant to be in your life and sometimes they're not. And just because you're related to them by blood or otherwise does not mean that you are obligated to be a part of their life. Father, daughter, brother, sister, cousin, it doesn't really matter. If they're not meant to be in your life, if they're not bringing you any peace, you're making the right decision for you. So don't ever doubt yourself. You're doing the best that you can. And I like I said, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. It's so weird too, because I feel like I have I've always said I feel like I have mom energy. I've always been the mom of the friend group, or I'm very protective of people that I hold close to me, and my mom's one of them. And my mom, she's had issues with a long time with because it's different. I understand, because my brother is her son. She gave birth to him. It's different. It's easier for me because I'm I don't have that same connection that they would. Yeah. But I that was one of the things I really impressed my mom. It's you can love him at a distance, and I'm just because he's blood doesn't mean anything. I'm yes, I'm not telling you, oh, you have to hate him or you can't love him, or I'm just saying that you need to have boundaries and understand, okay, what you're doing is disrupting my peace, so I need to have space.
Right.
But my mom's got I'm really proud of my mom, and but it's so weird to have that relationship where I feel that a lot of times where we both do it together. She'll some things I'm okay, yeah, I can improve on that, or same to her. We just kind of have that relationship.
Well, I mean, that's beautiful. My mom is the opposite. We're not close, but I did have to separate myself from her. I haven't seen my mom in about 5 or 6 years. And I talk to her very rarely because, again, like you said, if you're going to disrupt my peace and you can't respect my boundaries, I'm going to have to put you. And I did try. I called and I would speak to her. I have a son that passed away 8 years ago. He passed away. And my mom, she's an alcoholic still. And she'll say things about him that's offensive to me, accuse me of being the reason that he's not here anymore. And things to that nature. And so that was really disrupting my peace, right? So what do? I give you the opportunity to make that change. But then I have to also reframe my mind because this is my mother. She was the one who raised me because my father passed away when I was 11. And my stepfather, he's passed away as well. But she's the one who's still here. So I have to value her opinion. But I can't allow that to, like you say, disrupt my peace. She will attack me, and she was also the person that abused me. So it took a lot for me to reset my mind and to give myself all those affirmations, to reprogram myself to believe that I am worthy of those boundaries, of that respect. So like you said, your mom, it's going to take a lot longer because it is a child. I am a mom of 3. I have 3 children biologically of mine and then a stepdaughter, and I will die for my kids. But at the end of the day, sometimes I will have my kids hey, you need to leave. If you can't respect what's happening here, you need to go. And it's harder because you look at these babies that you've been having since they were basically in your belly, and you're holding them and loving them, and then they're in their 20s now, and you have to tell them to get out of your house. Get out of my house. And I've told my kids, get out. You have to get out. And it's not easy because you don't want them to be mad at you. And she doesn't want her son, your brother, to be mad at her. But she'll get her day. She'll have her time. Something's gonna happen that's gonna force her to have to make him respect her boundaries. And it's gonna come in time. And then when it does, if she's ready, she'll handle it. But if she's not, then she's going to love her son no matter what. It's unconditional. Kids have a way of pulling at the parents' heartstrings, especially moms. We're softies. We're big softies when it comes to our babies.
Right. No, yeah. Do you have dogs?
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I live in Costa Rica. The dogs outside.
Oh, yeah. I can faintly hear them. That's why
faintly. Oh, See, okay, usually it happens. They're like
No,
across
no,
the
you're good.
alley, and they're like, yep, 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 yep. I was like, oh. Usually they're quiet around this time. That's why I'm good with doing interviews because they're in the mornings. They're right outside my door. Costa Rica is a very loud place. I'm surprised you don't hear the motorcycles going and the birds outside of it. Like the birds are the loudest. They're right outside my window because if you open my front door, all you see is jungle. So the birds are all in the trees and they're like, ah.
That sounds beautiful. I
It is.
was gonna say, see, that's why I said it's been a long day. So
No,
my
you're
my
good.
mind, but I was just thinking, like, yeah, that's with what you were saying. You know, reframing your mindset and stuff. Like, you should be really proud of yourself for that because that is not easy to do.
No.
But it's also it's easier than staying where you were before, staying comfortable
Yes.
because the as much as it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable to change and like, you know what I mean, but it's also it's it's better than staying, you know. And
Yes.
I mean it overall, not just you, but like
Oh,
staying
yes.
where you
Yes.
were because like I was actually, you know, it's funny. I was telling my coworker this because um he was, you know, he's still new. He just started recently and for context, if anyone doesn't know, I work at a credit union, and today he was just a little frustrated. He felt like he was making, you know, a lot of mistakes, and I was telling him, I was like, you know, he was saying, I don't know, and I was like, first off, you're doing amazing. Calm
Mm-hmm.
down. You're okay. Everybody makes mistakes, especially when
Mm-hmm.
I was like, especially when you start something new. That is
Mm-hmm.
going to be, and I'm like, but going back to where you were is not where you want to be.
No.
It's in the moment when you're starting something, it's so easy to be like, I just want to give up because it's so uncomfortable. You know,
Yes.
you're scared, you make mistakes. There's no way you're not going to make mistakes, and you just feel like, oh, I'm a failure. I just keep making mistakes. This isn't right
Mm-hmm.
for me. I don't know what I'm doing. But then you think about and I told myself, think about everything you've done that was new in your life, and think about how every time it's that same thing, you feel uncomfortable, you're scared, you are making mistakes, but then you keep at it and you keep
Mm-hmm.
at it and you're there for like 6 months. And
Right.
then you know more, you feel more comfortable. Then
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it's ever evolving. You continue to go through that. Once you
Right.
got one level, then you jump. Then you jump to the next level. You start it all
Mm-hmm.
over again. You're uncomfortable,
Right.
you're scared. But
Right.
then you look at it and you're like, I've done this before. It's not good,
Exactly.
but I've done this before. And
Right.
that's like where you start to feel comfortable because you're like, although I don't know how to do it, I know exactly what it is. I make mistakes, I learn from them. I keep
Mm-hmm.
going, I keep
Mm-hmm.
pushing, and I stay strong.
Right.
Like that's you just it's hard to see that in that moment because you're like, oh, I make
Exactly.
mistakes. I feel like I'm not good at this, and it's like no
Right.
one ever was good at anything that they started. No one ever. They may be
Never.
like,
Ever.
it's like, okay, maybe it comes a little more natural than some other people. Still though,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna make mistakes even if it comes more naturally to you than others. You're still gonna make
Yes.
mistakes. And like people, you know, us entrepreneurs, we're like diving in, making 100 mistakes because you're
Yes.
like, I gotta
Yes.
keep going, I gotta keep going, I gotta try this, I gotta try this. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're making mistakes, but then it's like, but actually, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have learned what I learned.
Exactly. And that's the only way to learn. And everyone is afraid, okay, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to start this, I'm going to fail. But the only way you'll fail is if you give up. That's the only way
Exactly.
you'll fail. The only way you'll succeed is if you learn from, because mistakes are there for a reason. They're there for you to learn from them, not to use them as a way out. You learn from your mistakes, you figure out, you go back, you regroup. Okay, these are the things that I did right. Let's see what I did wrong so that I know not to do that again. And then you just move on. But the minute you say, okay, I quit, then you failed. The minute you say, I give up, then you failed. And you didn't fail your job, you failed yourself. You didn't fail everyone else, you failed yourself because you failed yourself an experience of growing that you wouldn't have had if you would have, didn't have that opportunity. So no, don't ever quit. Don't ever give up, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how hard it is. Like you said, you worked a 12-hour shift today and you might be sipping that Red Bull, but you right here trying to push towards your dreams and your goals, it's easy to say, you know what, I'm tired. Let me email her and tell her I want to reschedule. And I would have rescheduled with you because I know how it can be. But you didn't. You chose to sit here, let me get on this podcast and let's get this done, because you don't want to give up on yourself. So you are basically an influence to someone else who needs to hear that no matter what, you're going through things with your family, you're going through things in your home life, and you have that smile and you have this energy, and I don't know if it's the Red Bull, but you have the energy, and you're getting yourself one step closer to achieving your goal, to becoming successful, to being, to doing everything that you said that you wanted to do earlier, and the only way you're going to do that is if you don't give up on yourself. So the fact that you're able to see this and give this to someone else in your job that needs it, that's actually good. That means that you have some leadership qualities that you should. Don't stop, don't give up, and tell your friend don't give up, because if he gives up, then he's failing himself.
Yeah, first off, I appreciate that. Second off, like we talked about a little bit, which honestly I will say I hope my bosses don't watch my podcast. But
no.
Anyways, yeah, don't tell. But well, I've mentioned there, like, I don't feel uncomfortable telling people I have a podcast, but obviously I'm like, oh, some of my coworkers listen to it. It's like, I don't know, but I'm also like, I'm not afraid to say, yes, I want more in life. Like, I know that it sounds scary because it's like, oh, well, then she's just going to leave. It's like, no, obviously down the road, I have bigger goals leaning toward, working for myself. But it doesn't mean that, the time that I'm there, that I'm not committed and that I'm not, that I'm just going to up and leave, because I'm not that type of person. Right. But also, forget what the original point was, though. Oh, what I was going to say is working there, though, has I'm tired because how long it is. I will yawn all day. But I was going to say, that's the Red Bull's helping, but also I'm passionate about what I do, so that's where I'm getting that energy from. But also with this job, I've learned how to shift my energy, because it's so easy to get like frustrated and like with I personally take like they're called ITMs, and they're kind of like a virtual teller thing where you do transactions, and I've really worked on like how can I give the best experience to each member that comes. And at that first it's like, oh, it's another call, and you're like, oh, it's the same thing. It's like your phone. It's like your phone rings. You're like, who's calling? Like you get,
yes.
And then they're like, I don't want to talk to someone right now. Okay, I get that feeling every time one comes in, but then I think, that's not the person's fault nor their problem. B, I want them to walk away, even if it was a 1-minute conversation, and have a smile on their face.
Right.
And also, although like I said, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life, I've really taken the initiative, especially the last couple months. I've only been there for 6 months. The last couple months to really be like, how can I make, like, what can I do the next one to make it even better than the last one? Because I want those people to come and I have regulars, and they're like, I literally had my regular, he came today, and he's like, you weren't here last week. Where were you? And I was like, I'm sorry, I had a migraine. I had to leave early. The only time I don't ever call out nothing, but last Friday I had migraine. I was like, I am going home. It was awful. But it makes me smile. I have some members like that where my regulars, and they're like, I didn't get you last time. Where were you? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And
that means you're doing good.
Yeah, it makes me so giddy to have people come and excited to see me. It's like, now, then you think about it, you're like, now I'm a part of their routine. They come here once a week, come cash their check, and they want to come see me.
Yes, and that is true. You are a part of, you said that perfectly, you are a part of their routine. And the fact that they noticed that you were gone shows that the impact that you have on their life. Like I said, that shows that you are going to be very, very good in what you do in your goals, things that you're saying that you want to do for the future. And not to say that, you're not going to stay at the credit. What did you say? You worked at a credit
union.
Credit union. See, I told you, I'm there too. I don't drink Red Bull. They don't even sell those. Do they sell them? I don't think they sell them here.
Try
No.
not to drink them. I try to drink coffee because I for a while like I had health issues from drinking too many. I was drinking too many energy drinks in general, and so for a good while I didn't drink for a while. Then I like was like, okay, I'm gonna drink coffee, and then really ultimately with working at this job because there are longer shifts. Like some days, most days I drink coffee, but some days like today, I'm like, it's a Red Bull day. I need
Well, I mean, as long as you're not drinking them in excess, I've done that to myself. I think I had a job where I had to work the overnight shift, and I was the biggest ones that are like $8-9. I was going through like 3 or 4 of those suckers a night, and I made myself really sick. So, yeah, but one a week, I don't think it's gonna hurt you. So just, you know, take care of your health.
Yes, that's like one of the things I would say that my generation really has an issue with. I mean, not just that, social media, that's another one also.
Ooh.
Sleep deprivation, a lot of us, you know, and mine partially is the fact I work all day and then I come home. And I was the same way in high school where I would come home from school and all I wanted to do was avoid the next day having to go back to school. So I would stay up all night. And now it's the same thing where even if I like this job a lot more than any other job I've had, but it's
Mhm.
still a thing where I'm like, I want to do my own thing, work on my own stuff, and I stay up late. And then I'm like, oh, why am I so tired? And then I work all day, and then it's the same thing. And it's
Mhm.
like, I want to bounce, but I'm also like, no, if I go to bed at 10 o'clock and it's a work day, I only have 3 hours to myself. Not even 2.5, because by the time I get home, it's like 7:30, and then I go to bed at 10. It's
Oh wow.
so yeah, that's kind of where I've been is why I'm like I don't sleep as much as I should be as the recommended amount, but you best believe some days on the weekends I be sleeping in until like 11 in the
I was
11.
just gonna say, you wait till you get my age, and that's not gonna. You're gonna be in bed by 10 o'clock. You're gonna be like, no, I'm not doing this. I don't have time. I'm not young and vibrant. I can't stay up like that anymore. I've tried that before, and I'm by 10 o'clock, my eyes are crossed. I'm just like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to sleep. So no, but I mean, use that like you said. You use that time though, from what I remember you saying, for progress. So it's not like you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. You're working on your ideas for your business so that you don't have to punch a clock anymore. Because that's what we were saying, that was your goal, is that you
Mhm.
don't want to punch a clock anymore, which is where
Right.
I am right now. I don't punch the clock anymore. And I can tell you right now, I've been doing this for a year. It can get boring, but it is also very wonderful to be in control of your time. To be able to say, I'm going to get up, I'm going to sleep. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to sleep in today, and I'm not getting up until 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock because I don't have any appointments today. I don't have any clients today. I don't have this today. I don't have that today. So you have your goal, you have your plan, and I can see you being there. I could, by the time you're 25, you're not going to have any clocks to punch. You're going to have like 3 or 4 clients a week, and you're going to be right back control of your time. Just wait. You'll see.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's like I will be honest, one thing I've struggled with is receiving compliments, and I know that's an inner thing of not feeling worthy. And
Yes.
I've really worked on it because I'm like, no, like why do you feel that way? And I'm like, I think it's because growing up, I wasn't I didn't really I didn't really get compliments. B, I didn't feel worthy of,
Hmm.
anytime I would. It was just like and I've gotten better, but like I still find sometimes where I'm like, my grandma will tell me something, and I'm like, well, are you just telling me that because you love me, or? And she's like, I wouldn't lie to you, and I'm like, I can't help but think that, and I'm like, I know it's because I still feel, like, oh, maybe I'm not worthy of that, or I don't
Hmm.
think it's true. I don't actually think they think that, or but I don't know. Like I said, lately I've like honestly been having so many breakthroughs and like feeling like on top of the world. I just took this like it's got like 3 more weeks, and I'm so glad it came across it. It's called the 7 Universal Laws. It's like a program that this her name's Monica Island. I've never heard of her before, and I'm pretty sure she said, can't remember, she's from Ukraine is what I think she said.
Mm-hmm.
But it's teaching like 7 different laws, and it said it was for coaching. It was my initial like, oh wow, uh, spiritual stuff interests me. I don't know a whole lot about it. My friend's more that kind of person, but I
Oh.
we did the first night on Wednesday, and it was
Mm-hmm.
called the Law of Duality. My mind just was like, she was like drawing graphs and stuff, and I'm like, just first off, her background was in math and sociology and psychology, and I just was like, her drawing these things, but I was like, it made sense though, because I don't know if you know, I didn't know any of the 7 laws she's teaching. I have no idea, but I guess so. The law of duality is like essentially you have a negative and a positive,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're supposed to find the positive of the negative and the negative of the positive,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have like your polarizing lower minds, like where you're supposed to want to be in the middle. So you're supposed it's
Yes.
like counteractive, almost, because it's like, and I noticed this because she was talking about kind of like, oh, when you have like attachment to things, and then
Mm-hmm.
you feel that really high, and then you feel that really low, and
Mm-hmm.
that's we want to make it so obviously it's like, yes, get excited about things, but also acknowledging, okay, what are the negatives if I would get this, you know what I mean,
Yes.
and like doing vice versa. It was so interesting to me. I was like, this is like really cool, and there's 6 more that she's doing in this, and it's free. It's a free program, and
Oh.
yeah, I was like, this is really cool, and they're 3 hours long, Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 to
Oh.
11 p.m. So I worked all day until 7, and then 8 to 11
Got
I did that, and I was like, I don't know how I stayed up, and then I stayed
So
up.
you had a 15-hour day.
So I woke up probably about, let's see, I would say 7:30, and
Mm-hmm.
then I didn't go to bed till probably 1 or 2, because after that I then started working on my business plan. I was working on finishing it up. So I did that
Nice.
3-hour thing, and then I was like, now I'm gonna work on my business plan because I was like so excited to get it done. And I'm like, I'm crazy. Why was I awake for that long? But it's because
Because
I
you're
slept
reaching for
all
your
day,
goals.
right?
Yeah, and you have your responsibilities, which you're being very very on it about that. But then you're also, like you said, it's never easy trying to reach your goals. It's never going to be easy. But when you have to do what you have to start off doing what you don't want to do so that you can get to a point where you do whatever it is that you want to do and not have to worry about much. So you're going to do all this now. And like I said, by the time you're 25, you're going to look back and like, I remember there was times I didn't get any sleep till 1 or 2 in the morning, coming up with business plans and taking courses. Now you're going to be the one giving the courses, and you're going to do probably 2 3 hour courses a month and you're or a week, and then you're going to be good for the rest of your day, like, because that's your end goal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're working towards your goal. And even everything that I see that you're doing is kind of, you're reframing everything about yourself. Like you said, you felt like you weren't worthy to receive compliments, but you're reframing your thought process on that, because you are worthy to receive compliments because you're doing the work. It's like, it's the ones that work the hardest that feels like they don't want any recognition for the work that they do. It's like, you are
Yeah.
doing. You were at work for 12 hours, then you were in a class for 3 hours, then you spent another 2 3 hours putting together a business plan for your future. So you deserve that compliment. You are worthy of that compliment, and it looks like you're doing the work. So I'm interested to see where you're going to be at in the next couple of years. I'm going to keep up with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm interested to see too, kind of where you're at that same time. Brain lag so hard, but yeah, I have felt like that my whole life. No matter what I did, I always was like, it's not enough. Like, I've always been like, don't tell me I'm doing good. It's not enough. I want you to be. And I noticed too, and I listen to like motivational videos. I like the more military style, like yelling at me.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm like, it's a pattern. I think I don't know where that came from. I just like am so, I wouldn't say, I don't want to use the wording of like I'm fixing my ways, because I've really worked on like having a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, and
Mm-hmm.
always evolving. But I definitely have my, as everyone does, patterns or like kind of things that I notice. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've been diagnosed with OCD. I don't like to
define who you are.
yes, but recognizing, yeah, I see things that I do that I'm like, yes, like, but it doesn't paralyze me. I'm not like, oh, I
Exactly.
have OCD, so I can't do this, or
Right.
But it's noticing. I'm like, yes, where my boyfriend will pick something up and he will put it down and it will be slightly turned and it bugs me. It will bug me so bad that it wasn't in the exact position I had it in. And
There's
it's
nothing wrong with that. I am the same way. You better ask my husband. He's scared to grab a cup and put it down wrong.
I know, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad because I've worked on it, but like I've
Yes.
used to be more snappy, and it was just of like I and I'm like, I'm one of those people. I definitely know when I have a house, I want it to look like no one lives there, like not entirely, but I want it to be like, come in, everything's in its place, and it's just like it's like a show
Oh,
house. A
yes.
show house. You come in, you're like, wow, what are all these cool artifacts and paintings, and
Oh.
I'm like, I want it to be like, people come in and it's kind of luxurious and it's like, I don't know.
You want a house that someone's going to be scared to sit on the couch. It's like, I am not going to be the one to
Yeah,
stay in
they're
her
like,
couch. I'm going to, do you have a chair in the back that I can sit in?
yeah, I'm gonna be like, we need to lay out like a tarp before you sit on my couch. You
Plastic
ain't
on
getting
everything.
nothing. You ain't getting
Plastic.
nothing. Yeah. I was watching I don't know if you've ever seen it, Shameless. It's not
Oh,
not adult appropriate, but have you seen it?
my children beg
Oh,
me to
okay.
watch it. I have not. They're your age, so.
One of the characters, I'm rewatching it. I've seen it like 5 times. One of the characters, Sheila, she like, I don't know what her issue is, but you can't come in her house without putting your shoes in plastic bags, and everything is covered in plastic. The couch, the chairs, like it's awful. That's what I was thinking of her. I'm like, yep, that's. And I
That's
think
gonna be
that
you.
look weird. It looks weird with the plastic, so I almost wouldn't. I probably
I
wouldn't.
mean, I grew up in a generation where all of the elderly people had plastic all over their furniture. So that's normal to me. Like when I was a kid, everyone's house had plastic over it. Except for the pillows. Throw pillows were, and then we couldn't touch those, but yeah, you sitting there, and I'm from California myself, so I'm from 2 hours north of Los Angeles. It gets really hot, so you sitting on plastic furniture. It's 115 degrees, so you're stuck to the couch because you've melted to the couch because you can't get off because of the plate. Either that or you're sliding off from sweating. So trust me, yes, that's normal in my generation. We see plastic on everyone. All of our grandmothers and their friends had plastic all over their furniture. They had the plastic on their carpet, that walkway, where the only place you can walk is on that plastic. It was weird. So no, I can see you doing it. It's normal. Bring the plastic back.
Does that ever make you think though that people who do that maybe have the thought of they don't have enough money to replace the items, so they have to keep it in pristine condition?
Most definitely. I mean, because a lot of people, they furniture's not cheap. A couch can run you a couple of $1,000s just for the couch, not even the love seat. And then there's the ottoman and the table, the dinette set, everything. They sell it all separately. So of course, because especially with my grandmother. My grandmother had 13 children. She couldn't afford to go out and replace the couch because they spilled orange juice. Not orange, but red juice or grape juice all over it. That's the word I was looking for. Grape juice all over it. So of course she had to have plastic all over her furniture. And we all grew up, excuse me, going to my grandmother's house. So you can imagine 13 kids, how many grandkids she had. So trust me, it was plastic everywhere except for the kitchen. We ate on regular dishes, but that's because we had to wash the dishes. But when it came to our furniture, no, it was even plastic around the beds.
That makes sense. Yeah, I had that thought because I'm like, I feel like that's, I don't know. It makes sense, but also in my head I was like, is that a limiting belief, like on why people put plastic?
Well, I can say that too, because I know of, like, I have an aunt. She worked in banking, actually. Big giant mansion, beautiful home. She had money for days, and she had plastic on her furniture.
Right.
She had
I'm
plastic
like,
on her
is that
furniture.
A, limited belief, but also maybe like, I don't know. Because I mean, you could have all the money, but then also still have thoughts like that, like, oh,
Oh
kind of,
yes.
and almost being like, in survival mode. Like, what if I don't have, I need to keep everything in condition, because what if I don't have that money at that point, down the road, and I got to keep what I have.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
it's kind of like finding a balance. It's like, obviously, no, you shouldn't go buy a new couch like every week. Like, yes, but also things are meant, I'm like, I think when things are worn and stuff, it shows, kind of the history behind it, what's happened, all the people that, the family, like the events. It's like things like that are meant to be worn in. And, I mean, obviously we don't want visually people to come and like, oh, you see, there's a spot on my couch, my kid dropped something. But it's also like, there are
I
like
live here.
repairing tools to suck it out too, though. But
Oh yeah, I've had plenty of them. I've shampooed my couch so much that it was a completely different color than it was when I bought it because my children spilled. I did not have plastic furniture, and for some reason I've always ended up with lighter colored furniture, and they just love to run through the house with juice, juice. No matter how much you tell them to stay at the table and eat their food, they're going to run through the house because kids are going to be kids. And I was a single mom, so I'm working, and when I'm at work, guess where they're eating at? On my couch. So I've had to scrub a lot. But I mean, my house looked lived in. It looked like it was, my house was full of love.
mhm,
It always smelled like food. It was always clean, but just like you said, it was worn. It wasn't destroyed, by any
right,
means. But you could tell there were kids in the house. I could say that. It didn't look the way it did when it first came from the store. And I
right.
loved it. And I was happy for that. And I won't ever, those were memories.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, I also, the OCD part of me is like, no, don't get stains on my couch,
Oh,
but I'm also
yes.
like, it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't personally see myself having the plastic. I'm like, it's a couch is meant to be used. I mean,
Oh, yes.
it's, yes, I don't want stains, but I also will be like, y'all are wearing bibs on any of my
You know
furniture,
what?
and
Until they get a certain age, because like I'm gonna say I before I moved here, I had the same living room set. Me and my husband bought it in 2000. It was before COVID. I can say that. I think it was 2018, and we just got rid of it last year when we moved here. It was a part of the family, but it was still nice. It wasn't. I mean, until I had my granddaughter, then you started to notice stuff because then she's pouring. But yeah, I
right.
mean, it was. I can look at pictures and I saw my granddaughter grow up until she was 4 on those couches. So it's the furniture is like a part of your family. So
Yeah,
it was nice. I had a one of those fireplace things, the TV screen that turned into that had a fireplace at the bottom. Like it was so pretty. I left it all. I miss my furniture. I just remembered that I don't have it anymore because again I've had it. I mean, it's my granddaughter's 5, and my living room set is older than my granddaughter. So yeah, I mean, and it wasn't because I couldn't. It was just because I didn't want to. I mean, there was
yeah.
nothing wrong with it. It was beautiful, and it was mine.
I love that. And yeah, that's why I said you don't need to like always, that's why I was saying like you don't always need to, go, I don't say, oh yeah, go buy a new couch all the time, because like furniture is meant to last. But that's why I was saying it's just also like I like that we both have that, viewpoint of like, yes, it's meant to be worn in and like shown the memories and the love.
Yes,
Like, because
yes,
yeah, it's a stain, wash it out. I don't fully come out. Okay, you see that stain 10 years from then, and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember
yes.
that time.
We'll
Yeah,
just put a pillow over it.
yeah, yeah. Just cover it with a pillow. I was thinking, I know we're like, we talked about quite a bit of stuff, but I want to allow you the space because I know you have more to your story to kind of share anything
Okay.
you feel like you would want people to know about you. Um, just anything, any advice, any tips, anything. I love to kind of towards the end just give you like 5-10 minutes
Okay.
to have that space.
Okay. Well, a little bit, like I said, a little bit about me. I am a survivor, of course, but I'm also a mom, a grandmother. I own my own business, and none of it was simple. Like having this conversation with Samantha today reminded me of where I was when I was 21. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So, I mean, like I said, you're an inspiration to a lot of people in your generation because you even have this plan. I really love to see where I really am going to keep up with you. My job, my purpose, I say that, not my job, my purpose is to inspire and uplift myself, to use my story to help other people who are in some similar situations who don't know where to go. I want to help with the mindset change. Like I said, you're already on your way. I see you're going to be a wonderful coach because you're learning what it took me, goodness, 20 years to learn. It took me 20 years to learn that I need to change my mindset. I need to focus on the positive instead of looking at only the negative. I needed that balance because, like you said, that duality, positive and negative, I do understand that because if there's too much negative or too much positive, you're going to short circuit yourself. So I am trying to find that balance. That's what my podcast is about. That's what my platform is about. That's what everything that I do is about finding that balance so that you can heal whatever trauma that you've gone through. Because my trauma was physical, sexual or whatever, but some people's trauma is others. It's mental, it's medical. I've had people who survived strokes. I have a guy who, no lie, he had 3 strokes. He was not even 30. No, he wasn't 40. He was like in his late 20s, early 30s. 3 strokes. By the end of that 3rd stroke, he was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, diving and going deep sea swimming or whatever in the coral reef in Australia because he did not allow that to limit him. And that's what I want to do. I want to stop the limiting beliefs, stop people from believing that they cannot, that they're not worthy, that they're unable to do things, because we are all worthy. We are all beautiful. If you can follow me on Facebook, PJ Jones, and my link tree is in my bio, and you can kind of go there. Excuse me, that now there's the bus, and you can see everything that I do, everything that I have events. Like I just had 2 events for one was to celebrate International Women's Day. You should know this. International Women's Day is March 8th. The month of March is International Women's History Month. So it's everything about women. So I try to promote empowerment within women. I try to promote empowerment within trauma survivors. I try to promote empowerment within people, because if we don't empower ourselves, we're going to fail as a race. Because look at the world. Everybody's going crazy. They're worried about who's in office. They're worried about. I came to Costa Rica, and I don't speak the language at all, but this place is so beautiful. Everyone here helps everyone. I have not gone to a real grocery store but once in the entire year that I've lived out here. Everything I do with my hands. Everything, I've gone all the way back to the basics, and I have been more at peace, excuse me, than I have been in a city where everything is hustle, bustle, hustle, bustle. Sometimes we have to stop and reset and reflect. And that's what I promote. That's what I do. So my podcast is a little bit, I'm going to say, if you listen to anything I do or read any of my books, because I also have a book titled A Place to Belong by Perry Jaspers on Amazon. There's a huge trigger warning because there's a lot of talk about abuse, and most of my platforms talk about abuse, trauma. Well, no matter what, some type of trauma. I've had a woman who's going to college, went to go hang out with her friends, and she got caught up in a drive-by shooting, never been in a gang a day in her life. Someone who's gone through getting shot, sorry, it caused a trigger. So whatever you do when it comes to listening to anything that I do, please, please, please know it's not for the faint of heart. Really graphic and very detailed in everything that I do. But my sharing my story is up for a purpose. It's to help everyone believe in themselves, to give everyone the confidence to love themselves and to nurture themselves. And Miss Samantha, I'm going to go into mama mode with you, okay? Self-care. Get some sleep, Miss Lady. Because, burnout is real. I burnt myself out. That's why you see these dark circles. You see these? You don't want these, sweetie. You still beautiful. You're going to get these dark circles around your eyes because I don't sleep. I just want to heal. That's my purpose, is to heal and help others heal. However I can.
Right. I'll be honest. I probably won't go to sleep for a few more hours.
You probably won't.
Even without this, because I said, especially lately, where I really feel like I've really come in alignment. I have just been like energy I didn't know I had. I've just been like, I am ready to do it. And
That's
then
normal.
right, yeah, that was first off powerful for sharing, trauma and abuse. That's really touchy subject. B, a lot of people, eh, you know, struggle with moving forward. A, you
Mhm.
never forget it, but B, also like it's hard to find a way to take that initiative to work
Yes.
towards healing. And
Mhm.
I personally, I haven't really talked about it, but then I won't go into detail here. We're about to hit that hour line, but also I want to well, I don't want to take too much more of your time. That's what I was saying. But your time is important to me. I try to keep it to the hour for people so that it's, I'm not taking if they have something else they need to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that I have personally experienced sexual abuse, and I haven't publicly like online talked about it or anything. But sometime
Congratulations.
soon, I've never been on a podcast, but I'm going on a podcast that talks about trauma and stuff, and I plan on officially sharing it there. But
Oh, if you ever want to join mine, you know how to contact me. I would love to have you on my show.
yeah, that too. I haven't been. I've been a host. I've never been on things, and I also don't like. I don't really ask people to be guests, so that's why I appreciate you offering that to me because I'm not I'm the one to be like, hey, be on mine, but I'm not quick to be like, can I be on yours?
Yes. Yes. That's okay. I don't mind offering. And if you have a story that you're willing to share, I'm willing to allow you to share it on my platform. So whenever, just email me. We'll make time because I feel like everybody's story deserves to be heard, and only when they want to, and only how you want to. You share what you want to share as much as you want to share. It's never going to be I want details. No, it's your pace. It's your pace. Like I said, I feel like you're really mature for your age because a lot of things that I have had to learn, even in my 30s or 40s, I hear you saying now. So, and you're acknowledging who you are, you're aligned, you're attuned, and that's the perfect place to be. So, again, keep doing what you're doing. And yes, no, you're not. I knew you weren't going to go to sleep when I said it, but your body's going to tell you when it's time. And I'm sure you'll listen to your body. If your body's up and you're aligned and you're ready to go ahead. But on those self-care days, like you say, it's okay to turn off your phone. It's okay to put everything on D&D. It's okay to close your laptop and take care of yourself because
Yeah.
you have to make sure you won't be able to help anybody if you can't help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I am lecturing. Sorry, I told you I'm a mom, and you remind me of my daughter.
As I say on RuPaul's Drag Race, I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh
There's
yes.
yeah, where he says, what is it? Hold on, I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he's where he says, how the hell are you gonna help somebody else if you can't help yourself? Can I get an amen?
Yes.
He says that
Yes.
of every episode, and every time I started watching it with my mom when I was younger, and we've watched it throughout, and that is every time, even years later, I still when he says that, I'm like, I'll say it with him. I'm like, yes. I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
And then when he also says, if they ain't paying your bills, don't pay them bitches no mind.
Not even a drop. Not even a drop.
Exactly.
And I love, man, I love RuPaul. I grew up with RuPaul. I didn't even know what RuPaul looked like without her drag, with his drag, until the show that he came out with. Because when I grew up, always in drag, always in drag. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, thank you so much. You are really, really inspirational, and I guess again, I'm gonna see you in a few years, and it's gonna be like I was on her show, you guys. I was on her show. I'm going to be bragging about being on your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like so I don't know, like it's so good. It's easy to be like, kind of put down your worth and being like, oh, I shouldn't be braggy or, kind of show offy or, but it's
Mhm.
like you deserve to own it. You deserve to own it.
Yes, you do.
You don't have to put yourself down because you feel like other people, if they feel that way, that's a reflection of how they feel about themselves,
About
not
themselves.
anything to
Exactly.
do with you. So
Exactly.
it's take it a lot of this, and it's so weird to say it's taken me a while because I'm only 21, but genuinely, like, I've been on this journey for probably about 2 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say really ultimately, like, the last 6 months has just been continuingly like, I'll have moments where I kind of, and I've gotten out of this. I'm gonna yap for one more minute. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But I had like issues with and I this is like kind of part of what I want to teach, but going through cycles where you're kind of like paralyzed by everything and feeling overwhelmed, and it usually, like, for me, when I would go through these cycles, it would be I would be on a really high, I'd be doing so good, I am on top of all my stuff, and then,
Mm-hmm.
like that you said, the burnout, I would be pushing, and also doing things that I was not passionate about because I was like, well, I need to make money to do what I had that thought of, I have to make money somehow before I can do what I want to do. I can't do it now. I have to make money, and then
Yes.
when I have the money, I can be able to. That's not
Mm-hmm.
true. That is not true. You don't have to. I spent
Mm-hmm.
so much time on different side hustles, things. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try this. Let me do this, and then ultimately, towards the end of 2024, literally a few months ago, I was like, "What am I doing? I am spending time on things that I don't care about because I'm like, I need to make money so I can do what I want to do." And ultimately, it's just pushing me back from
Mm-hmm.
achieving what I want to do, and also making me burnt out because I'm trying so hard to do something that I don't feel passionate about. And I had heard something like an audio or a video or something, and it was saying, when you're passionate about something, the money will come. And I was like, this is what I need to focus on. So ever since then, I've been trying to, like, what is my thing, kind of figure
Mm-hmm.
that out. And took me, and when I say a while, a couple of months is a while to me because I'm a person where I'm like, go, go, go. I want to be going. I want to be going.
Yes.
But to me, I'm like, oh, a few months, you should have figured that out a few months ago. But I'm like, girl, you are fast tracking a lot of people your age. So I'm like, I acknowledge that
Yes.
is like an amazing pace. And ultimately, I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of people are feel like they, where they're at is not a good place to be, or, why am I not further along? I had that thought so many times. Why am I not where I want to be? And it's like, when you start to love the journey and you just focus on what you're passionate about, things are really gonna, and that's how I felt lately, things are really gonna come into alignment, and it's just gonna really, you're not going to be so focused on why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet?
Right.
And I've been
Right.
like, I am so happy where I am right now. I just finished my
Exactly.
business plan. I just created my first course
Exactly.
line. Like, I have, like, feel like I'm on top of the world, even if I'm not.
Right.
In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm not where I want to be in all these other areas. I have these things figured out that a lot of people my age don't. And I've been telling myself, you need to appreciate where you are,
Exactly.
even if you're like, oh, I'm not where I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
you're still so much. And I don't like to compare in that way because I'm like, well, I shouldn't be comparing, but it's also like, if that's a comfort thing of like, okay, I am farther along than a lot of people my age, which that is true in some ways, but there are also people who are younger than me that are farther along than me. But it's like,
Exactly.
I'm where I'm meant to be, my pace.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what matters, is that you are where you're meant to be. That's what if I give anyone any advice, it would be to acknowledge that. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Know that you're where you're meant to be right now. And whoever's ahead or behind you, that's where they're meant to be. Everyone focuses on where someone else is at so much that they they stress themselves out trying to get there instead of just being happy at the place that they are right now. So yes, that you said that best. I love that. I love that. Be you're content with where you are, but you know that you're working towards being where you want to be. And as long as you continue to do that, you're going to be just fine.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I felt called to share that, so that's why I wanted to share that because
Oh no, do it. Yes.
especially with social media, it's so easy to compare, and especially being an entrepreneur, that is like adding it social media
Yes.
plus being an entrepreneur. You feel
Yes.
that pressure of I need to be, oh, see these people my age, they're doing this. And that's why I was mentioning that, because it was like a Russell Brunson ClickFunnels thing, and the kid was like, I don't know, 14,
Mhm.
and he like either he won an award or something, I don't know. And I remember when I had watched this, which this was a while ago, months, maybe a year ago or so, and
Mhm.
I had thought like, if only I started earlier. But then
Yeah.
like looking at it now, it's like, but I'm 21. What do you, like? Why am I?
Yes.
I'm like, it's, and even if I was 65, there are people who are. That's why I say don't use a comparison
No.
as a negative thing, but acknowledging also, where, what I mean, like saying, oh, I'm 21, but there's also, and I feel like I'm not that far or where I should be or whatever. But then I also acknowledging it could be a completely different situation. There's a lot of people my age that aren't as self-aware. So
Exactly.
utilizing that of not saying, "Oh, I'm better than you," but acknowledging that I can appreciate my growth because it's not a standard for my age to be where I'm at. So,
Exactly. Yes. But I love that. I love that.
thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
we ran a little bit over. I know you mentioned it a little bit when I asked you to kind of mention anything we didn't discuss that you wanted to share. But
Mhm.
just because we're about to wrap up, if you could just mention again where people could find you.
The easiest way to find me is on my link tree, but it's on my Facebook page, PJ Jones. And you go there, look at my bio, you click on my link tree, and every single thing I'm doing, all of my socials, my Facebook, my link tree, my LinkedIn, my TikTok, and my Instagram are all on my link tree. Every single article, because I write articles in Brains Magazine and Medium Magazine, those are there. Something that I'm currently working on, those are in there. Anything that I have as far as my services, my workshops, my books, all on my link tree, and you can find that in my bio on my Facebook page at PJ Jones.
And I will have that linked as well, but I know that I'm kind of an audio or visual person, so I like to also say it verbally for people. Um,
Yes.
So also for anyone who may want to find me, I don't know where you're watching this through, but my Facebook it's Smith Bailey with my face. I don't know. I know they have like a tag, but I don't know what it is. But then my branding is you'll see the alignment. Mine's on a Mission podcast, and then my username, for stuff I changed it. It's Samantha Bailey on a mission. So that's I believe my Instagram and I think TikTok username. I don't really post on those except for posting the flyers, but I'm working towards getting more stuff. I want to post more content.
Yeah.
So and clips because that was one thing like I did it for a little bit, but then I was like, oh, editing is just not.
Oh my
Guys,
God.
I'm looking into stuff, trust and believe, because I want to be able to really make this, something where, yes, I do the episodes, but I really want to be like, how can I make this the best podcast that it could be? And that is
Right.
adding additional resources like clips and stuff. That way, people, if they,
Oh, I sent my link tree just in case you wanted to,
no,
because
you're
I
good.
know that.
It shows like a little bubble thing, and I was like, what is this? Yeah, so if you guys want to find me, you can find me through there. And as for the Minds on a Mission podcast, you can find us on pretty much every streaming platform. I used to list them out, but it's a long list. Apple
Yes, saw
Podcast,
that.
iHeartRadio, like it's on a bunch of stuff. So go check it out there. Some of the stuff is not completely updated. So honestly, at the moment, the best place to check it out is on YouTube under my live section. You can find all the past streams there, and then I've been working on getting stuff updated. So sometime within the next week or so, everything should be fully updated on all the other platforms. Guys, I'm trying. So we just want to thank you so much, PJ, for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having a little bit mini therapy session with me, but
that's okay. I love it.
Thank you. I love to share my experiences, even if, like I said, having those thoughts of, oh, not qualified or blah blah. It's like it does not matter, because even one person telling me I took away something from this one episode, even if they didn't watch any other episode, that's personally something that I love. It's like even one person, it's like I made someone's day. I provided insight to someone. So we appreciate coming on, sharing your story. I am gonna have all your stuff linked. And if you guys want to reach out to PJ, she mentioned it, and you can access that through this podcast episode. So thank you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful Friday night and a good evening.
Be safe this weekend.
Yes. And enjoy Costa Rica. I so wish that I was there.
I've been sitting with my fan here the whole time because it is so hot.
But I bet it's so beautiful. And I'm not a hot person. Like, I don't like the warm weather, but the scenery, I imagine, is worth it. So
Beautiful.
I will have to go sometime. And if I do, maybe we can
look me up.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Well, I'm working towards my dreams. So within the next couple of years, I'll be able to afford to go to Costa Rica, and that you best believe you'll be a stop when I come. Okay.
Come on down. I'd love to have you.
Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday night.
Bye.